Hello, happy new year, happy 2022. Fingers crossed this year isn't as bad as 2021. With the start of the new year, I know everyone's in a mind space of doing something different, trying something new, and a lot of you might even be looking into starting a new business or even just a side hustle. So for that reason, I want to go into self-motivation. Working for yourself and not having a boss to answer to is so incredibly difficult. Finding a reason to get yourself up every day and continue to work throughout the day is so hard, but that's all part of running a business. So I want to share with you some tools and tips that I personally use running my own business, how I stay motivated to work throughout the day. Let's get started. Okay, so first things first, started my business about, I want to say June last year. It is not very long at all. I've been in business for about 6 months and I have learned an amazing amount through that work. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm a freelance videographer and editor, and a lot of what I do is creative. It's not very 9 to 5, but I like to keep my office work as 9 to 5 as I possibly can. But due to the nature of like filming and things, like people want things filmed at weekends, after work hours, to work around their schedule. So for that reason, there's no real way to keep any sort of schedule. And I think it's the same with a lot of creative jobs. So hopefully these tips that I give you will help you balance your work and life, and it will also help you keep a clear mind about your boundaries, because that is incredibly important. First things first, this bullet journal. I got it from Waterstones. It was about £17. Usually bullet journals I associate it with Pinterest. Big illustrations, big art, colours, stickers, all sorts of things. But as a creative perfectionist, if I went down that route, I would have to have my bullet journal looking perfect. And the one mistake I make would mean ripping out pages and throwing it away. So for me, bullet journals didn't really appeal to me until I found this, which is the same thing, but less artsy. It is literally just scribble and go. And it does the job. It helps me stay productive. If anyone's not really familiar with bullet journals, which I am not, and I wasn't when I bought this. This is a collaboration with a productive sort of YouTuber. I'm not sure who, but they collaborated with whichever company made this. At the start, you've got like the key that you can use and the symbols that you can use so that you can make things make sense, really. And then at the end, you've got instructions. Oh, cool, there's a little book here too. I did not know this was here. Right, and at the back of the book is a whole like introduction to how to use this to get the best out of it. But the beauty of this is because it's all just blank dotted pages, you've got a lot of freedom to make use of it in a way that makes sense to you. So they've got an index at the front, which is basically a contents, and you can put your own page numbers in. So if I wanted to go to my meeting notes, I'll just go to page 10 and they're all there. As you can tell, I really haven't used it that much yet. We go into future log. It's basically an overview of each month, like a really simple overview. This is like, here's what I want to get done. You can have a quick look and be like, okay, in September, I want to release my YouTube pack on my site and I want to finish half of the lyric video that I started. Very important to keep your goals achievable because that will keep your motivation going. If you overwhelm yourself with something that you know you can't do, you're actually more likely to do less. When you set a smaller goal, you're not restricted to it. You can go over it if you want. Like if I said to myself, I want to finish half the lyric video in September, but I finished the whole video in September, win-win, you know? There's no one telling me I'm not allowed to do that, but it's best to keep your expectations manageable so that you don't overwhelm yourself. And then it breaks down. So this is the start of September. You've got every day in September. Next to it, you've got like what you want to do, like what meetings you've got, like just really simple, just look at it and go. And then after that, you've got just a list of things that you want to get done, things that are important to you. And what I love about this is that you're always productive in the right way. So sometimes you will find yourself, if you're not organising your thoughts and organising your tasks, you might find yourself doing stuff just for the sake of doing stuff. Whereas if you're writing it all down and really thinking about like where your priorities lie, when's your next deadline, how do I need to meet that deadline, so when do I need to prioritise that task, you're in a position where you're actually making progress towards goals instead of just doing stuff for the sake of it. And what I love about this is that at the end of September, for example, I come back to that page and I can check off everything I've done. The idea is to reflect back on it, and that's how you know you're actually moving somewhere. When you're working for yourself, you can't always see progress that you're making, and that is also a motivation killer, because if you don't see your progress, you're going to start thinking you're not making any. So obviously you're not going to want to do anything if it feels pointless. So it's really nice to just go back and review what you've done that month, just to remind yourself that you are making progress. What I really like about this is the fact that you can just cross it off when it's done, and that is the most satisfying thing ever. Like every single day won't feel like a massive productive miracle. You're going to have some days where you just feel like, but But at the end of the day, it's the little things that you do each day that stack up. As long as you stay somewhat consistent, you're actually going to get more done. So it's consistency that's key. So no matter if you feel like you haven't done anything, as long as you've done one thing, even if it's just read a page of a book, that's still progress. You gotta be kind to yourself. So in here, I've got meeting notes. I've put this in my contents. This is on page 10. And next to it, at the end of September, I've put a to-read list, which is books that I wanted to read. I'm a big believer in constantly learning. Whenever I take on a video project, there's always something in that project that I do to test myself, if that makes sense. So every project I do something different in order to learn. But also outside of that, when I'm not having any work on or when I've got any free time, I like to learn outside of the jobs that I get. And one of the ways that I like to do that is through reading. For that reason, I always have a little reading list. Self-developmental books and confidence boosting, anything like that, very, very helpful. And it will help your client serving skills, it will help your confidence, it will help the way you come across to people as well. So that's this. This is very good. I'm a very disorganized person, so the fact that I'm even using this at all is amazing. I love the freedom it gives you. It's just blank pages. But although I love the freedom it gives you, I do sometimes open it up and I get overwhelmed with the blank page. Like sometimes I just need something that's there to help structure my thoughts, because my thoughts just go mad sometimes. For that reason, I'm in love with this planner that my sister got me. It's almost similar to my branding. It's like a nice little purple. It's really cute. She got this from WH Smith. I have no idea how much it was. So this is essentially the same thing as the bullet journal, but it's got more structure to it. So as you can see, you've got the months as tabs here, so you can literally just open the page to the month that you want, which is really nice. It's got a folder in it. It's got some really cheesy text in it. Like on every folder, it's clearly just trying to be motivating, but it's like, believe you can, and you're halfway there. Let's get into why this differs from the bullet journal. So it is essentially the same thing. So at the start of each month, you've got a list of, well, it prompts you to write things that I want to achieve and how you plan on achieving them. So it's all well and good having a list of things you want to achieve, but you need to put a plan of action in so that you know you can achieve them. If you don't, and if you find yourself not meeting these expectations, you'd feel like you're not doing enough. So it's got like what you want to do for each day. It's got a checklist, which I love checklists. It's so satisfying to cross things off. One of my New Year's resolution, funnily enough, is to drink more water. So I can actually keep up to date with how much water I am drinking. And then it's got a box here for top priorities. It's very important to delegate your tasks in order of priority. So when's your next deadline? Prioritize the thing that needs to be submitted next. When you're doing your daily tasks, you know you're doing the ones that need to be done and not just doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff, you know? Difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. I'm sure they do. And what I love at the end of each month is that it's got reflections. So say how, you know how I was saying in the bullet journal, you can write down everything you want to do in the month, and then at the end of the month you go back to that page and look at what you did. This is essentially the same thing, but instead of just looking at it and reflecting, you can actually write down your favourite memories to start off with. So your favourite memories, what did you most enjoy? What's the best thing that happened? What's your biggest accomplishment? And then you can go into reflections of the month, which is where you think to yourself, what did I get done? How much of that elevated my business or elevated myself as a person? What do I need to do for next month? What didn't I get time to do, and how can I manage my time better? So reflections and favourite memories. Writing it out forces you to think properly in detail about what happened that month, and I think that's more important than just thinking it. And again, it forces you to see how much progress you actually made, which again, working for yourself and by yourself is so important. You need to give yourself praise every so often. You need to remind yourself that what you're doing, even though you're not getting paid for it at the moment, especially if you're just starting out, even though you're not seeing any money out of it immediately, what you're doing is contributing towards something good. It's got a nice little wallet. I don't know what I'll use it for, probably receipts. Yeah, that's going to be my receipt wallet. So I love that. I love it to bits. Those two both overlap each other but also complement each other. I always give myself like an hour each morning to kind of think about, you know, what did I do yesterday and what do I need to do today? When's my next deadline? What can I do to meet that? So that's like an hour every morning just looking through those two books. Next, as you can see behind me, I hope you can see, I hadn't actually checked my shot, I might not even be in shot. So behind me there's some things on the wall. These were given to me from a client whose daughter is an illustrator, and she goes under the name Mellow Doodles, and she describes herself as like a mental health, self-help type artist. So what she does is little cards that go on the wall with like supportive messages and organisational things, and also some like self-help colouring books, a mind demodeler book, like things like that. But what I really want to talk about is, I don't know if you can see them. She's got this weekly planner thing, so it's like a little flip book. You just rip out the page and stick it to the wall. So it's basically got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's got a checklist, so it allows space for each day, 3 to-dos, so 3 things that you need to do. There's a box of like, you've got to write down something that you need to remember to do that day, like chase that invoice or make that call, anything like that. And then there's a list of 5 bullet points that you can do if you have time. It's really good to manage expectations, the fact that you're only giving yourself 3 tasks to do that day, and everything else is a if I have time type of task. That alleviates the pressure, and it means if you don't get time to do those tasks, that's fine, because they were only there if you had time. It's really clearly laid out, the colours are really beautiful, and I just love how it just sticks on the wall behind my computer. Like with these books, I kind of got to go through and flip the pages and see what I'm doing, whereas this, if I just need a reminder throughout the day, I'm just typing away and I can just look up and be like, okay, that's next. And alongside that, she's also got a project list sheet that she's made, which is the same thing. It's like a flip book, and you kind of just rip out the page, write on it and stick it to the wall, is what I do anyway. What I love about it is that there's just 3 sections, so there's 3 columns, and you can label them as you like. So I've labelled it video, admin, and self-development, which means the video work will go under things that need editing, things that need filming, any planning I need to do. The admin work will be taxes, money, spreadsheets, backups, anything like that. And then self-development will be learning. So After Effects and lighting and screenshots and photography, anything like that that I want to learn, I want to develop, will go in there. As a freelancer, as you're working by yourself, you need to constantly be giving yourself work, especially at the start when you're not going to have floods of work coming through. Even if you're selling products, it's going to take some time for it to gain traction. But throughout that time, you don't want to be sat at home waiting for something to happen. You need to be actively doing something. What I love about this is that it allows me to give myself jobs to do, so that even if I don't have any client work, I've still got something else to do. So I am aware that the 3 things I've talked about so far are very similar in nature. You do not need all of them. If anything, you just need one, but I wanted to mention them all because they accommodate different types of people. The first one gives you a lot of freedom to just use it as you like, the bullet journal. So if you're someone that just wants something to scribble down, this is perfect for you, and it's even got like instructions on how to do it in the book. However, some people don't like that level of freedom. They don't like to open a book and be overwhelmed by the fact there's nothing there. I recommend this from W.H. Smith's. It's all laid out for you, and you've got little folders and stuff in it. And then there's probably, I'd say this is for a more visual person, these things on the wall, especially as they're mental health related. So anyone that struggles with mental health, self-motivation due to depression, anxiety, anything to do with that, I highly recommend you check out Mellow Doodles, because you can just go on the website and you can get these separately, or you can get it in a box which comes with a self-help colouring book, crayons, all these wall arts, and obviously the productivity stuff as well. I'm in no way sponsored by her. I was just given it as a gift from a client, but I absolutely love it, and I am vouching for it because I genuinely think it's such a good idea. It's like a nice kind voice in your head. It's like retraining your thoughts to talk to yourself nicer, which again, as a freelancer, is so important because you're answering to yourself. You want to be a kind manager to yourself. If you work at like Subway or something and your manager is expecting you to work all day, 12 hours a day with no break, and then they start telling you, you still didn't do this, you still didn't do that, you would probably quit that job in a heartbeat. You would not like working there. But the fact is, we all do that to ourselves in our head. So it's about retraining that mind and retraining that manager side of yourself to allow yourself to take breaks, allow yourself to eat, allow yourself to just breathe. I think this is why this is so important, especially in this day and age. Okay, I got sidetracked. Next, I want to talk about my Kindle. Not everyone is into reading, and that's fine. If you're not into reading, apply it to podcasts instead. If you're a creator especially, fiction is a great way to keep your mind buzzing. So anything fiction gives you ideas, gives you inspiration, allows you into different storylines and different ways of doing things. Just fiction is very fun as well. Non-fiction is good too. So non-fiction for me would be anything self-help or anything that will give me access to the inside of another business owner's mind, which I think is incredibly important. This can be so isolating. When you're working for yourself and by yourself, I know I keep saying it, but it is so isolating. And you want to feel connected to other people that are doing something similar. So one of the books I recommend is Rich as Fuck. Again, I'm not like endorsed, sponsored, whatever, I just really like it. It was recommended to me by my boyfriend's sister who runs her own business, and she swears by it. And what's really good about this is it kind of digs deep into your mind, like, why do you want to start this business? What do you actually want from it? Obviously you want money, but where are your goals? And the more you know where you're going with it, the easier it is to get there. Otherwise you're just kind of floating around in the dark and hoping something happens. And what I really like about that book is at the end of each chapter you've got like homework sections, so you're like kind of writing out answers to questions and things, and it just forces you to get back inside your mind, realign your goals. It just makes sure you stay on track. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. I want to talk about schedules now, because schedules will keep you motivated for longer, whereas if you overdo it or if you're in a zone and you just don't stop, you will get burnt out, which in the bigger picture is actually less productive. So you've got to look after yourself in order to get the best out of yourself. And for that reason, I'm going to share with you my personal schedule, and you can use it for yourself or you can use it as inspiration to make your own schedule, but this is just a very loose sort of schedule that I like to stick to. In the morning, I like to start between 8 and half 8, and I use the first hour to kind of decide what I'm doing for the day if I haven't already done it the night before. I'll decide what I'm doing for the day and go through emails, anything that needs catching up on. That's the first hour, just to sort of ease my brain into it. And if I've got a video to edit, then I will do that from about half 8 to 11, which is when I get up, have a little walk around the house. Sitting at that desk for too long is not good for your body. So I like to have a little wander around, make myself a coffee, have some cake, anything like that. So yeah, if I don't have any videos to edit, I will just work through my checklist and get things done. So from about 11 to 1, I'll just be doing that again. And then between 1 and 2 is when I usually take my break for lunch. And even if I'm in the zone, fully in the zone, I have to like rip myself away from the computer to take that break. Otherwise, I will feel so crap. My eyes will feel so tired. And also when I take my break, I try so hard not to take my phone with me, because a lot of my business is run from my phone. And I find that if I take it down with me, and if I'm making like lunch or something, I find myself responding to emails or checking my business Instagram or my business Twitter or anything like that. And then I'm no longer taking a break, am I? So and I go downstairs, have something to eat, watch some TV, and just let my mind like breathe from everything. I'm a morning person, so my energy levels tend to dip at about 2 o'clock, which is why I tend to eat my lunch between 1 and 2, so that hopefully the energy comes back, but that doesn't always happen. I just go into a food coma. The last like 3 hours, I like to take on some lighter work, so maybe my balance sheets or something like that, just something really simple that I can just type through, maybe come up with Reels ideas, Instagram ideas, anything like that. I'll do it in the last like few hours of my day, because by then my energy levels have dipped. So obviously everyone's body clock works differently, so I know a lot of people I know, they actually prefer to start at about 11, 12 o'clock and then work until 8, 9 o'clock at night. So if that works for you, that works for you. Just make sure that you're listening to your body, you're taking regular breaks and you're not overdoing it. Set yourself a finish time and finish at that time. And another thing that I want to kind of point out is not really a productivity thing, but if you work in the video industry, or if you make films, or if you want to be a freelance, anything like that, I really recommend the Film Business Master course by Aviv Ben-Or. It was, well, I got on discount, so I got it for like £170, but you get access to the whole course. And it's all like video lessons, and you've got a whole range of documents to use as well, from agreements to budget breakdowns to schedule templates, anything like that. Like, it's amazing. I love it to bits. And he really goes into how to price up your work, how to quote, how to find clients, how to attract clients. He even like does like little role plays of how he speaks to clients in meetings and how he negotiates prices, things that people don't really talk about enough, and they really should. And it's so affordable. Not really a productivity thing, but I highly, highly recommend it. Again, not sponsored, not an advert. It's just stuff that I genuinely use every day and absolutely love. Okay, so that's pretty much what I use to stay productive, how my schedule is organised to stay productive. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Let me know what works for you, if I've missed anything. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great 2022. Bye!